Today we have Pink Floyd, A Saucerful of Secrets, released June 28th, 1968, produced by Norman Smith. It has 7 tracks, and it runs about 39 minutes long. The interesting thing about this album, it's the second album in the catalog after Piper at the Gates of Dawn. It's the overwhelming theme is about psychedelia. It's very whimsical, serious, threatening, but amateurish all at the same time. And it's definitely a transition album for Pink Floyd, and I'll talk more about that when we dig into the songs. The album cover. This is first for the band. The cover for Piper has just a picture of the band. This one they brought in Hypnosis and a group run by Storm Thurgeson to do the album cover, and he did many of the Pink Floyd albums over the years. Basically, most of them, not all of them, but most of them. It's very like you get the image of a kaleidoscope. It says Pink Floyd on the top, and by the way, one word. See how it says Pink Floyd in one word in white font. What they did was they made this kaleidoscope of an image, and then they stuck a Doctor Strange comic book over the top of it, and you can't exactly see it, but what you can see if you go look. By the way, go look at the Wikipedia. You can see the picture. But these science beakers at the bottom, that's part of it. And then if you look in here, you can start to see Doctor Strange himself. And then right here, there's this little green guy. I think that's the bad guy from Doctor Strange. And these planets is part of the Doctor Strange cover. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else in here. Also of note, you've got a picture of the band right here. Let me just zoom in there. You see that, guys? Yeah, that's Pink Floyd. Okay, or at least the 4 of them without Syd. And I have this version. This is the 1994 remaster. I bought this in the right around then, like maybe 95 when I was becoming a Pink Floyd fan. Yeah, it's on the back. You got the names of the songs and the length, and then the booklet. I like the booklet to this. They did a really good job in the recreation for the '94 remasters. I like the text. You got. Let me just flip open. You got some really cool pictures. You got pictures of the band, and here's another cool picture of the band. This is the 4 of them without Syd. So David's in this picture. And you got big lyrics. It's very easy to read for an old guy like me. And you got cool pictures that Hypnosis threw in here. And I've seen the 2011 remaster and the box set and all that. It's a lot of the same pictures. I've seen people do unboxing videos. Here's a picture. Here's an old one where you've got Syd in with the band. And then there's a picture of here where you have here's a picture of Syd, by the way, for Jug Band Blues. And there's a picture of the band with all 5 of them. Let me see if I can find it right here. This is on Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. Okay, so good photos, good. They did a good job, and I guess that's why they kept hiring them back. And this is what the disc looks like in the 94 remasters. You got that kaleidoscopy thing going on. Okay, enough of that. The book. I forgot, I didn't grab the book, but I showed the book in the Pink Floyd album rankings, so you can go look at that. But I have the book, A Saucerful of Secrets, the Pink Floyd Odyssey by Nicholas Schaffner. Maybe when I do a break here, I'll go get the book and show it to you guys. But I'm going to reference that book a lot. I'm just going to call it the book. It's A Saucerful of Secrets, the Pink Floyd Odyssey. It's not just about A Saucerful of Secrets, it's about the whole Pink Floyd experience from the beginning to the 90s. And I'll show that in a moment. Okay. Well, let's get on with it. The very first track is track number 1, "Let There Be More Light." It's written by Roger Waters. It's 5 minutes and 38 seconds, and Richard Wright sings the verse, and David Gilmour sings the chorus. And you hear a bunch of weird references in this song. They're singing about. He sings about Lucy in the Sky, which is a Beatles reference, and Mildenhall, which is I guess it's a UFO site somewhere in England. So this is like that psychedelic theme going on, and the song's kind of doing a dum dum da 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 dum dum da 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 da. That's sort of the main riff of the song, and also about the song. the organ dominates the song. It's sort of sitting on top of everything. And at the end of the song, you hear like a guitar solo, which sounds to me, to my untrained ears, like David Gilmour. It doesn't sound like a Syd Barret one. I'm just guessing. The book refers to the song as Johnny One Chord on page 132 of the book. And you kind of get that feeling like it's just one chord, sort of like a psychedelic. I don't know if they're going for the Indian effect there, like India music. But this song is in the key of C minor. By the way, I'll preface this by saying right at the beginning, I had a hard time getting the sheet music for this album. There aren't a lot of good options on the web, and let me just grab something here. I bought this book recently. It's called Pink Floyd Piano Sheet Music Anthology. What I really like. I got a little keyboard over there, but I'd like to have the lyrics with the guitar chords with the piano music, just like a general. This is how to play the song on the piano. I thought I was getting the whole entire Pink Floyd catalog, and for the price I paid for this, I should have. I mean, I showed you guys that Beatles book. I paid about the same price, and the Beatles book has over 100 songs. This has got like just a few songs. So I'm kind of torqued off about it. This was no help in doing this. And by the way, it's got these album covers on it. It doesn't even have every song from these albums. So there's like one song from The Division, Bell High Hopes. And so I'm kind of torqued. By the way, I did bring the book out. Here's a Saucerful of Secrets. When I talk about the book, I'm talking about this book. Okay, but what was I going to say? It's in the key of C minor. That's per easysheetmusic.altervista.org. Okay, that seemed right to me. I had a hard time finding sheet music for this online. It wasn't at any of the places that I like to go to look at sheet music. And I think what I was looking at there was a sheet music or a MIDI. Some of these are MIDIs. If I'm wrong, and if it's not in C minor and you know that it's not, just leave it in the comments, okay, please, and maybe I'll do a corrections video at some point. Okay, yeah, it's in the key of C minor, and it's 77 beats per minute, which is a very slow tempo, and it's in 4/4 time for the most part. The verse of the song, they're singing, far, far, far away, way, people heard him say, there will be, It's 4 bars. It's only 4 bars at that slow pace. And then the chorus is, then at last the mighty ship descending on a point of flame made contact with the human race at Mildenhall. That's 5 bars to get through all that. And the song structure of this one is pretty simple. They're sort of following that Beatles-ish, but just very common song structure. It's a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And there's nothing fancy. There's that guitar solo at the end that I've talked about. Okay, so that's Let There Be More Light. It's okay. It's a Roger Waters song. Track 2, Remember a Day, written by Richard Wright. It's 4 minutes and 33 seconds, and it's sung by Rick Wright. By the way, that is a cool picture of Rick Wright. I'm just disappointed in the book. Okay. This song, Remember a Day, was written for Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and I thought I read that, and yeah, I confirmed it's on page 132 of the book, and Syd is on slide guitar. That's also from the book. It's in the key of E major, and E major has 4 sharps, and that sheet music comes from Music Direct, sheetmusicdirect.com, which is one of the very reputable sites, but it's one of the few that I actually found online. It's 60 beats per minute, and it's in 4/4 time. And the verse, Richard singing in the verse, remember a day before today. That's kind of how the song goes. And it's that is 12 bars in the verse, plus a couple to hang on or merge into the very next verse. So it's like a 12-bar type song. The bridge is Richard Wright singing, why can't we play today? And that's 8 bars. And then the interlude is 24 bars of the main riff of the song. And by the way, counting out 24 bars at 60 beats per minute, you're welcome. It's kind of painful, but I like the song. It's the main riff of the song in the musical interlude with some screechy, short, bursting slide guitar, which, if you're believing the book, that is Syd Barret. Sounds like Syd Barret, doesn't sound like David Gilmour's slide guitar, at least not the stuff that he was playing in the 80s and 90s. And so I'll say it's Syd based on the description from the book. And Remember a Day is a verse-bridge interlude, that 24-bar interlude, plus the verse, and then an outro, Remember a Day. Track 3 is Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun, written by Roger Waters. The album version comes in at 5 minutes and 28 seconds. The lyrics Roger took it's a poetry book translated to English, and it's Chinese. It's a Chinese poem, and it's sung by Roger Waters. And this is the book where it's another one chord Johnny. I mentioned one chord Johnny in the first track. Let there be more light, but it's back. And Rogers took this out of a book by William S. Burroughs. That's where he got the title of the song from. It's a William S. Burroughs novel. And also there are rumors that Syd Barret is playing guitar on this with some David Gilmour overdubs, and that's also on page 132 from the book. So Set the Controls for the Heart of the Song. It's complex. You got Syd. Syd helped with the backing tracks, and then David Gilmour came in and did the overdubs. And it's just a weird transition album for Pink Floyd where you have 2 guitarists and 2 lead singers. And you got Roger and Rick singing a lot of the songs. It's very unusual. Set the Controls is in the key of C major, or it could be A major. It looks like, based on the chords I see on sheetmusicdirect.com, the chords are A minor to G to D minor to C to F. That could be, I guess it could be C major. It could be A major if you just, if you look at it in that way. It's 130 beats per minute, and it's in 4/4 time. The introduction of the song is the dum da 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 dum da da dum da do 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 do. That goes on for about 40 seconds, and then Roger Waters starts singing the verse at 40 seconds. Little by little, the night turns around, and to get through the first verse, it's 16 bars. And then that's when the hook, I wouldn't call it a full-fledged chorus, because all he's singing is Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun, and then you hear that music for 16 bars, and I think he repeats it once. I guess it's sort of like a chorus. Genius calls it a hook, whatever you call it. All he's singing is Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. Then the bridge part of the song, he's just saying the heart of the sun, repeats for 16 bars. Then there's quite a long musical interlude of 24 bars, and the outro of the song is the heart of the sun, the heart of the sun, the heart of the sun. And it's a 36-bar outro, and then it just quickly fades out. It's kind of trippy. It's sort of psychedelic in nature, and it fades out to nothingness. Really, kind of sort of like an abrupt fade out, honestly. The song is a verse, hook, bridge, interlude, and then that hook, and then the outro. And that whole one chord Johnny thing, it sort of feels like it's a one chord kind of thing, sort of like, I guess, Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles. It's not like Tomorrow Never Knows, but you know what I mean. I'm just making a comparison. And I know it's not just one chord, but it sort of has that one chord feel to it. Okay, does that make sense? Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. It's one of my favorites. Track 4 is Corporal Clegg, written by Roger Waters. So he's sort of dominating this album at 4 minutes and 13 seconds. The first of what will be several songs by Roger Waters, sort of like a military war type theme, and he's sort of, I get the feeling he's sort of like searching for having lost his father, and it goes back to his father died in the war in the Battle of Anzio. I'm sure you guys all know about it if you're Pink Floyd, Roger Waters fans, but there's going to be many songs like this over the years for Pink Floyd. Also of note, on page 132 of the book, there's a few manic licks by Syd Barret in this song. So this is one of the early tracks that Syd participated in. It's in the key of D major. At least that's what Googling it told me, and I couldn't find a reputable sheet music for this song. I looked at ultimateguitarchord.com, and I noticed right away it wasn't in drop D tuning. That doesn't mean it's not in key of D major. I just noticed that their fingerings weren't in drop D, because you'll see a lot of D major songs are. The chord sequence is A, C, D, A, E7 sharp 9, E7 sharp 9th, and I noticed in the verse, the bridge, it goes from B minor to F sharp, which that, by the way, that's going to come back to later on another song. So with that chord sequence, I guess it could be a D. I mean, when you see D and A, it could be a D, or it could be a lot of things, I guess. It's 87 beats per minute, and it's in 4/4 time. I think the time signature changes to 2/4 or to 6/4 in the he won it in the war. You know that part. He won it in the war in 1944. And that, for me, that makes it impossible for me to count the actual verse without looking at the sheet music. So I'll just qualify that right now. The verse, Roger Waters sings, Corporal Clegg had a wooden leg. He won it in the war in 1944. And then in the bridge part, he's singing, dear, oh dear, are they really sad for me? Okay, and then the chorus, the chorus is kind of zany. Mrs. Clegg, you must be proud of him. And there's this weird, I'm guessing it's a guitar, like a where. You guys know what I mean. The instrumental break, the tempo of the song really picks up. So I don't know where it goes from 87 beats, but it really picks up. And it's like that sort of tempo. And that is 56 bars at that fast tempo. And that's at the end part of the song. There's also an instrumental break at somewhere in the middle. I guess after the first chorus, but it's not that 56 bars. It's longer at the end. So the song structure is a verse, chorus, that quick break, and then a verse, chorus, and then you have that really long break at the end. And that's Corporal Clegg. Track 5 is A Saucerful of Secrets. This one is credited to the band Gilmour, Mason, Wright, and Waters. And it's 11 minutes and 57 seconds. I guess you could call it an epic based on that length. Originally called The Masked Gadgets of Hercules. That's on page 133 of the book. That was the working title. This song played on shuffle, came up when I was taking a shower. I talked about this when I did the Ultimate Ummagumma live review. If you maybe I should leave that in the description. A link to that. Go check out that review. I do a deep dive on this song in that review and compare different versions of it. But I talked about how this song came up. I was taking a shower and this track came up on random or on shuffle. And that was back in the first week of June, and it scared the heck out of me. It really is quite a scary song. It's scary. David Gilmour says this song is brilliant. That's in the book too. And he said that was the first clue to our musical direction forward from there. It's a song about war, and it just sort of got like a psychedelic, trippy sort of feel to it. But there's also some very beautiful moments. The song is in the key of B minor, and it's 118 beats a minute, at least when you can start counting syncopation, because in the first part you can't. It's in 4/4 time. From Genius, the official interpretation, according to Roger Waters, is the depiction of a battle. Part 1 is the setup of a battle. Part 2 is the battle. Part 3 excuse me, is the view of the dead, and part 4 is the mourning of the dead. There's a lot going on in the song. So part 1 is something else. It goes from the beginning to 3 minutes and 57 seconds. What you're hearing are some closely mic'd cymbals fading in, an echoing organ, and some slide guitar and bass, chimes, piano, vibraphone. If you've ever watched Live at Pompeii, you can see all that happening in a quick version. But in the studio version, there's no drumming or percussion. So like I said, it would be impossible for me to tell you what the time signature is of this part unless you just completely focused in on the organ, which even then it's pretty unstructured. But this is the closest Pink Floyd comes to jazz, is this song. It's just unstructured music and unstructured data, really. Part 2 is Syncopated Pandemonium, 3 minutes and 57 seconds to 7:04. And what you get in this is like this drum tape loop. And you got more cymbals and distorted guitars and piano. But the drumming, the tape loop is sort of like a dot, dot. It's sort of like that going over and over. Like dot, dot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dot. It's not perfectly like that, but that's the closest I can do, okay, with my hands on the table. Part 3 is Storm Signal, 7 minutes and 4 seconds and to 8 minutes and 38 seconds, so about a minute and a half. Floor toms, chimes, and organ. And in the form of a passacaglia, that's from Wikipedia, I don't know what that means. It's over a 16-bar bass line, continuing in the 4th section until the end of the piece. You'll know it gets... You hear it when it sounds like thunder. Okay, that's how it starts. You hear thunder, and this is the scariest part of the song, and you hear that that organ progression. The 4th part of the song is Celestial Voices from 8:38 to 11:57, so it runs for about 3.5 minutes. This is the whole band coming in, the bass, the organ, the piano, chimes, mellotron, and David Gilmour sort of like, he's not screaming, but he's sort of going, ah, okay. And this is the best part of the song. You'll hear Rick Wright and Roger Waters take over the song with the whole band. But there's this beautiful chord progression of B minor to A to E to F sharp. And you hear it over and over again. And you hear David sort of, over the top of it. It is quite beautiful. And it's called Celestial Voices. According to Roger Waters, this is the part where they're mourning the dead. And it's my favorite part of the song and the most beautiful part of the song. A Saucerful of Secrets, the title track. Track 6 is Seesaw, written by Richard Wright. It's 4 minutes and 36 seconds. Rick Wright is on lead vocals, and he's playing piano. He's also playing his farfisa, which is his favorite organ. And I don't know if it's his favorite, but he plays it. He plays it on the Division Bell and Wish You Were Here in a bunch of albums. And the xylophone and the mellotron on this one. Seesaw makes me feel like I'm floating through the air like cotton tree seeds, or dandelion, like if you blow a dandelion, or if you're blowing bubbles, like a kid blowing bubbles. It's sort of got this whimsical, psychedelic feeling to it, or something. There's something going on. It's in the key of C major. It's the first chord is a C major 7, according to easysheetmusic.altervista.org. The internet, if you Google search it, says it's in the key of D. I tend to believe the sheet music rather than Googling. It's 83 beats per minute, and it's in 12/8 time, but you guys know me. I don't like to count 12/8 time. I count it like it's a waltz in 3/4 time, 3/4 or 3/4. The verse is, he's singing, marigolds are very much in love, but he doesn't mind. It's about 36 bars in 3/4 time. And then the bridge, another time, another day, is kind of swinging back and forth. It's very hippie-ish. It's about 30 bars, the bridge. And the song is a verse, verse, bridge, verse, outro. Also, I'll just note that they played this song Nick Mason's A Saucerful of Secrets. I went to the concert last, oh, it was like October, November. It's a cool song. Seesaw. Track 7 is Jug Band Blues. It's the final song on the album, and it was written by Syd Barret, and it's sung by Syd Barret. It's 3 minutes long, and it'll be the very final, last Syd Barret Pink Floyd tune. The only one on the album. I've noted where he was called out as participating in other songs, but this is like a true Syd Barret song. This is the kind of psychedelia which reminds me of The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and I like it. It's in the key of C major. It's 116 beats per minute, and it's in 3/4 time. It's not in 12/8, it's actually in 3/4 time. And it switches to 5/4 and to 4/4 in various parts. And that's why the song feels so herky-jerky when you're listening to it. The verse he's singing, I like the song. It's awfully considerate of you to think of me here, and I'm most obliged. Okay, it's 11 bars to count out. At least it's 11 bars until I lost count with the time signature changes. And he's singing, I'm wondering who could be writing this song. People have suggested that Syd was already ruined by LSD. That's on page 99 in the book. Peter Jenner, who I believe was one of the Pink Floyd management people, he describes as possibly the ultimate self-diagnosis on a state of schizophrenia. I mean, I don't know if he's writing about himself, but it sure seems like he is. It sure seems reflective. There's an interlude part of 32 bars in 3/4 time. I was listening to it last night. Jackie Boy came walking through the kitchen and said, he asked me if that's a Beatles song. And I said, no, it's a Pink Floyd song. And he said, sounds like the Beatles. And it does, and that's because the psychedelic nature of it, it does sound like a Beatles tune. At the end of the song, after the 32 bars, it comes back, and Syd starts singing. He's just kind of lightly strumming a guitar, and he's singing, well, the sea isn't green, and I love the Queen, and what exactly is a dream, and what exactly is a joke? And then the song ends. Apologies for the singing, but that's the scariest shit you'll ever hear. Considering who it came from. The song is a verse interlude, that 32 bars in the middle, and then that final verse, and then it just abruptly ends with dead silence. In summary, A Saucerful of Secrets, it's mixed. It's this blend of Syd Barret, Richard Wright style psychedelia, which is really cool. Which is a little bit reminiscent of the Beatles psychedelia, but also there's this Roger Waters infused psychedelia. It's mostly slow tempos. Let me just say, it's a cool album. Okay, I like it a lot. I'm not sure how else to explain this, but there's this sort of dark cloud hanging over the album. It's a bit eerie. It's scary. The psychedelia is sometimes excellent. At times it's corny, especially the Roger Waters corniness. But the entire Syd Barret ending with Jug Band Blues, it makes it very creepy. And there's this thing I didn't get into, which, the name of the album is A Saucerful of Secrets, which is the name of the song. The song is about war, okay, or Hercules or whatever, But the name of the album suggests that there's some foul play going on. A saucer it's a frying pan or a dish. Think of a dish. a small dish. A Saucerful of Secrets. Well, there's like a lot of weird accusations about Syd Barret that people were, you know, he was taking LSD, but also, you know, his friends were giving him LSD when he wasn't aware. They were slipping it in his tea. But it's a very psychedelic album title. The music psychedelic. But there's this ominous, creepy, sad, eerie feeling to it. It's not fun to listen to, but it is a cool album. Okay. Let's see what's coming up next on the channel. Next, I'm gonna do the Beatles '65, which I like. It's one of my favorite early Beatles albums, and I'll talk about that. I have a lot to say about it, and then I did a post. I'm gonna ramp up the volume of Beatles albums that we're gonna do, but I'm also gonna weave in some other stuff, King Crimson and Pink Floyd and Yes and some other Led Zeppelin, and I've got it all mapped out. So if you haven't seen the post, just go to the community page and look at it, and you'll see which albums are coming up. But I'm looking forward to doing all these. It's fun to have a plan and then to have a roadmap and to execute on that. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm out. Thanks everybody.